You may begin the meeting.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first meeting of 2021. It seems like forever since our last meeting, but it was only December 21st by the looks of it here. So, yep, Happy New Year, and we'll get started here. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Remind Council of declaration of pecuniary interest if it arises. And we have minutes here from the December 21st meeting. I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux. Seconder, Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we are going to move right into delegations here. So we have Tim Pettick here from the Crow Valley. Welcome, Tim. I lost you off the screen there, but I imagine you're getting something there. So.
All right.
Not sure if you're there, Tim.
I feel like I'm working or tracking you down. I don't have any volume.
Having lots of technical difficulties this morning, so we're starting the year off great.
You want to start the video component?
And bringing the IT person in.
Do that.
Down the bottom left. Start straight down.
Okay. Did you do this? I presume you did.
Did what?
See this little.
You guys aren't, just so you know, you're not muted, but whenever you're ready, Tim.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Good morning, Mayor Martin. Sorry, of having some technical difficulties here.
Par for the course. So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Thanks very much. And good morning, everybody. Hopefully, everybody can see and hear me. That's the problem we were having, was the audio. But anyway, good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to make a presentation again to council. I always enjoy coming to Havelock-Belmont-Methuen. You're our biggest municipality, and we do the bulk of our work, actually. You know, the good significant portion of it is done in your municipality. So it's either with dam operations or regulations or whatever it is. So it's great to be back and having a quick chat with you about our 2021 budget. I'll try to be fairly brief, and hopefully that will leave more time for questions and what have you. So, or an exchange of further information or details that you folks want to talk about. Anyway, just briefly, as with many organizations, there are always budgetary challenges, and the Crow Valley Conservation Authority is indeed no different, as you folks know. Our board members are acutely aware of the financial situation at the CVCA, and have been fully supportive of our role and continue to do so. And thanks to Mayor Martin and the other 9 members on our board. Staff and I are certainly thankful of that support that you've shown over the years. Our board members also recognize the practicality of providing sufficient financial resources to address all issues at once is not always feasible. This is particularly true in light of funding changes to the financial model dictated to all conservation authorities by the provincial government. Provincial grants have been severely reduced, and the government's role as an effective partner, in my opinion, especially for smaller rural CAs, continues to diminish, even though we are loud and vocal and take every opportunity to show what a small rural CA is like, and the support that we need from the province. This situation has become glaringly evident as the financial reductions of approximately $60,000 took full effect in 2020. and significant changes have been made to the Conservation Authorities Act. You've probably heard late in 2020. In fact, the act, those amendments have been passed, and unfortunately, the government didn't listen to any changes that were being proposed to those amendments. However, we do have another opportunity. I've been informed that there's a regulation committee that's been established that will hopefully allow conservation authorities another opportunity to show the government that these amendments are going to have a detrimental effect. And we can talk a little bit about that later, depending on time. Despite these financial reductions and the effects of changes to the Act, the board has supported a 1.5% increase in the draft CVCA budget for 2021. Considering the grant reduction and other financial pressures and comparisons to previous budget increases, the current budget proposal has been deemed to be reasonable by the board. Hence the circulation to our member municipalities and this opportunity to discuss the budget details further with our member municipalities. In essence, this budget not only allows the CVCA to maintain the status quo from an administration and operational standpoint to deliver the services and programs for the public, but I am also proposing the reintroduction of infrastructure funding contributions. And Mayor Martin, you may remember in past years, we had set aside a certain amount of money to contribute to the asset management of the authority's infrastructure. Anyway, for other financial reasons and pressures, we unfortunately were not able to maintain that in all the intervening years. So I'm suggesting we introduce that again. So this action, I think, is a result of the necessity to first ensure the CVCA has the financial capacity and resolve to maintain an aging infrastructure, i.e. our dam network. Secondly, it will enable the CVCA to secure 50% matching dollars from the province for the water erosion and control infrastructure funding. Obviously, the two go hand in hand. So in essence, we are creating an asset management program for the authority's dams and assets. I've been with the CVCA for a number of years now, as you folks know, and it's obvious the dams do age. Over the time that I've been here, I've seen it. But for the upcoming number of years, those dams are going to be in the mid to late stages of their actual asset life. So I think we now need to consider implementing this repair and maintenance regime to keep future costs from unnecessarily spiraling out of control. It's true, the adage that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I think it's certainly applicable to an infrastructure like what we have under the ownership of the authority and hence our member municipalities. It's just with dams, and maybe it's true with roads and bridges, you don't really see, maybe on a year-to-year basis, you don't really see the asset deteriorating. And it's true with dams. You could take a picture one year and the next year, 6 months or a year down the road, take exactly the same picture. You're not going to notice any difference. But it's over time that these things start to appear. And that's what we want to stay on top of and address. Specifically, the 2021 draft budget also addresses the following. It's a set 0.75% cost of living allowance increase for staff. And we can talk a little bit more about that if council so chooses as well. But that was based on the average monthly rate up to September 2020 of last year. We've also increased that same rate, that 0.75% of 1%, so 0.75% for key expenses. We're introducing that infrastructure capital asset contribution. There will be additional staff training, and this is specifically, and I mentioned this to and there are other board members, because of 2020 and it was almost like a perfect storm in terms of problems and issues started with COVID, and I've got currently 3 people on leaves. And up until just recently, I also had a 4th person on a parental leave. And then the person that we hired to cover that person on parental leave, he ended up leaving early. So of a total of 8 staff, including myself, all of a sudden we had only 4 staff here to continue to do all the work that we do with dam operations and regulations and whatever other items that need to be taken care of. So 2020 was a bit of a challenge. I've since hired some contract staff to replace those folks, or at least 2 of those folks. But there will be additional staff training costs for that. So we built that into the budget. And not only does our infrastructure age, but our flood forecasting and warning system is also aging. And it's getting to the point now, fortunately, we have started contributing some money to reserves to account for this. But that being said, I needed to include additional financing in our budget to start addressing and modernizing the flood forecasting and warning system. That's something that we rely on heavily. We use it every day, and especially during flood events, we're constantly relying on that system to work. And I'm concerned that we are putting ourselves in a position where we could potentially jeopardize that system. So we need to investigate modernizing that flood warning system. We also included money in our budget to maintain our conservation areas. No new money, because I believe there are other opportunities out there to assist the authority with maintaining our conservation areas. We can discuss that now or another time. You know, some of these issues, I'd be more than happy to come back to council and discuss these specific items with you folks. And of course, being COVID and COVID's continuing, there potentially could be additional expenses related to COVID. I'm not anticipating a significant amount of dollars, obviously, but there's still that potential that we may have to address that concern. So what does all this mean for HBM? Well, overall, as mentioned, it's a 1.56% increase to the CVCA's budget. In terms of actual dollars, this translates into an increase of $10,537 for all of our member municipalities to contribute to the 2021 increase. What it means for HBM is approximately, I don't have the exact number, but it's approximately $4,000 extra that HBM will be contributing to the CVCA's budget, which, and correct me if I'm wrong, basing it on last year's budget, I believe that's a very small percentage increase to your overall budget. So we can obviously talk about that as well. Just for your information, our proposed budget increase is roughly equivalent to the CVCA's peers in Eastern Ontario. And lastly, the support I'm requesting from HBM is the foundation for our success moving forward and ensuring that we are able to deliver the services and programs that so many of your residents rely upon, such as managing the multiple dams in your municipality for controlling recreational water levels and mitigating the effects of flooding, as well as the demands that are coming with the influx of so many new residents to the area from the GTA. It's changing the demographics and the makeup of your residents. I'm sure it's having an influence. Anyway, if we aren't moving forward, then the opposite, we're regressing, and I don't think that's going to be good for water management or for the municipalities and our residents under our jurisdiction. So thanks very much for this time. Hopefully I haven't taken too much. I'm certainly more than willing to discuss any of this or other issues that or items in the budget that you'd like. So I'll leave it at that and turn it back over to you, Mayor Martin.
All right, thank you, Tim. And thank you for everything that you went through in the last couple of months there. I know it's been a challenge to say the least, but this budget here, I know the board was pretty happy with what staff brought back to us. I did voice my concerns on the cost of living increase being a little low, and I don't want to fall into where we were a few years ago, where we get back that we end up having to spike it to get staff up to the level where they should be. When I seen the 0.75% increase, the average I've seen is around 1.5%, but you were comfortable with this, and that's good. I appreciate it. As far as this Bill 29 that came out here, you know, we didn't support it as a crow. It didn't really hit all the bases that we were looking for as far as small CA. And I did see last night, yesterday afternoon, they sent an email out that they're setting up a subcommittee for that bill. And unfortunately, we're not on it as a Crow Valley, and they picked all the big CAs, and that's one of the things that they're missing here is they need to talk to a small CA like Crow Valley and how we do things to try and stick with our core mandates. So anyways, they seem to miss the mark again there. We'll see where it goes. I did see one of our county councilors is on the committee, Scott McFadden from Cavan Monaghan. So it'll be interesting to see where that committee goes and how they follow through with the recommendations. But I'll open it up to council here. I appreciate you coming here, and you can answer the questions for them. Has council got any questions here or comments for Tim? Larry, go ahead.
Yes, through you, excuse me, through you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome, Tim. Good to see you. It's been a while. Just a couple of comments. We've been getting updated from Mayor Martin regarding your staffing challenges down there, and so I commend you for juggling and doing whatever you had to do to make things work. I was curious, are you still getting some support from Quinte?
Through you, Mayor Martin, thanks for the comments and Mr. Ellis, Councillor Ellis, and I appreciate that. Ironically, if I can put it this way, we're not getting any support from Quinte directly. One of the staff, contract staff that I've just hired, actually, she just came from Quinte. Which is somewhat ironic in some ways, I suppose, but no direct support. I actually get probably at this point better overall support and cooperation, if I can put it that way. I'm not putting Quinte down, but I'm actually getting really good cooperation and assistance from the Lower Trent Conservation Authority at the moment.
Okay. Thank you, Tim. When we talk COVID costs, one of the things I asked last meeting was, do you guys receive funding through COVID to offset some of your expenses?
Through you, Mayor Martin, that's an excellent question, Councillor Ellis. Conservation Ontario investigated that possibility or opportunity early in the whole COVID situation. And I haven't heard anything different since that time, but I'll certainly let you folks know if there is. We were informed that there would not be additional support costs or that we would not be eligible, at least federally. And I haven't heard anything provincially, but it's certainly something that we could investigate again, or I could certainly pose that question to Conservation Ontario to see if they've made any headway.
Just one last thing, Tim. When I look at through some of the budget numbers under your expenditures, it lists other. No, just a minute here. Um, where did I find it? Special projects under your expenditures. I'm curious what that entails, special projects. It's a fairly large.
Right. Yes, yes, you're right, Councillor Ellis. I'll just, generally speaking, that category covers the source water protection budget component of the authority, plus our risk management official budget component. And occasionally we're hoping we'll see what happens, but it also covers off things like if we were to hire students to do any monitoring in the watershed, normally that's in that category as well. So it's additional services or programs that we offer that are primarily funded by other sources, but we have to reflect it in our budget.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
So is there any other questions there for Tim? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Giroux, and then Councillor Pomeroy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Martin. Tim, it's nice to have you here this morning. Thank you for your report. It's been a year. I know Crow Valley has struggled, such as a lot of other municipalities and conservation authorities. It's encouraging to hear you say, Tim, that there's a coming forward that you may have an opportunity to have some input on some changes. Also, with your asset management plan, it's a great thing. So I wanted to say thank you. I think your budget is pretty close to where it would have to be in order to keep things going. And also I'd like to comment, I hope I understand that you either broke an ankle or sprained one badly. So I hope that goes well too in the upcoming year. So thank you for being here, Tim.
Well, thank you very much, Councillor Giroux. I really appreciate those comments. Actually, it was I have a torn calf muscle, and actually, to tell you the truth, I'd rather really break a bone. The calf muscle, it's tissue, and it just doesn't heal that great. So anyway, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and it's great to see you as well.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Pomeroy. Go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Martin, to Tim. I'm just kind of wondering the same thing that Mayor Martin touched on earlier was the 0.75% COLA. You know, what would another 0.75 do to the budget? It wouldn't do anything. It's a minimal thing, and it's for staff. And we've had trouble years and years ago. It goes right back, you know, for to catch up on wages. If we do it a little bit at a time and within the guidelines of most of the other councils around, you know, like a 1.5 is not out of line. I feel anyway, instead of having to spike it again next year or the year after, you know, that's the rest of it. I think you've presented a good budget. There's very few questions, but that was one of them that I feel that maybe it's not going to affect the tax base. You know, there's not that many staff. So anyway, that's my recommendation.
Well, thank you, Councillor Pomeroy, for those comments and support. And yeah, I totally agree with you folks. And maybe I did miss the mark a little bit here. But at the time, I think it's because of our budgetary process. We weren't sure in terms of inflation where things were heading. When we got to September, there was still a possibility that COVID would have an impact on the inflation rate. And I took a best guess at it, and I guess I missed the mark by roughly half. hopefully, and I don't think it'll have a significant impact on 2022's budget. Like you're suggesting, Councillor Pomeroy, the extra 0.75%, or 0.75 of 1% shouldn't have that big of an impact going forward. But I'll certainly take this under consideration and discuss it with the board in terms of, for 2022, how they want me to approach guesstimating the rate of inflation for the year. So I certainly appreciate that. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? Okay. Oh, Hart, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I'd just like to thank Tim the same way. Tim, I'm fine with the 0.75. Hate to be contrarian to everyone else, but 0.75 I think is fine in terms of COLA, especially in this year where many other people are suffering. Nothing but the Crow is in terms of their day-to-day operations. You referenced dams earlier, and I know you guys have done extensive work on the Crow River Dam in recent years. So I've had, I'll just use that as an example. So in terms of monitoring that dam, could you take me through, like, say, a season of how many times you guys would be out there to monitor, say, water levels or look at the dam, and what said inspections would entail?
Through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, absolutely, Councillor Webb. On a day-to-day basis, we take water level readings, so we know what's going on with levels and flows. That's done daily, and like it's suggested in a spring freshet or flood situation, we monitor it even throughout the day as well to make sure that we're on top of it. So that's the start of our duty forecast process, which is the basis for the other work. So, for example, if first thing in the morning we call Belmont Gauge, get a water level reading, and the lake level is too high, then we make a decision at that point, taking into consideration the entire watershed as well. We make a decision whether to physically remove a stop log or more at that time. So let's say the water's too high, we go out, take a stop log out. While we are on site, now this is something that it's a benefit, if I can say it this way, it's a benefit to have staff obviously with tons of experience. So they get very familiar with the dam. But at the same time, so that's primarily the case with the folks, Neil and Ray, that go out and do those operations. But I've seen, and maybe this is what you're alluding to, I've seen growing concern, or not pressure, but I think we have to be more diligent. We do formally 2 dam inspections per year. But I think I'm going to implement a system so that, and once again, this is to have a paper trail, really. Every time we go out on a dam, now I know the guys do it, but I need them to record any observations or anything that they see while they're out on the dam, and then record that, and then we have a paper trail so that in the intervening time between those 2 official inspections, we have a record. And then that will dovetail into those 2 formal inspections, which then further dovetail into engineered inspections that we conduct on the dam every 10 years, or more often if we think something is necessary. So it all kind of fits together, and that's the way it's supposed to work. And we're going to be making sure that we put that into effect for 2021 and beyond.
Thank you, Tim. I really appreciate that. Like I said, I know there's a number of people that hear get a bill from Crow Valley when they do upgrades to their houses and whatnot, but they don't really know what you guys are doing day to day. So I appreciate that, and maybe that'll help some of the people in terms of knowing what you guys do. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right. Well,
And
oh, go ahead, Tim. No, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, once again, maybe at another meeting, I can even go into more detail what those dam operations, how often they occur, and what we do. Maybe even take a video of the guys doing a dam operation, and that could be used, either on our website or your website. And also, I think it would once again reinforce to the public that we're doing these dam operations for their benefit, so that they can enjoy summer recreational levels without problems or issues, or that we are trying to mitigate flood issues. So I think communication, whether it's us through you or whatever, I think in this day and age, there's more and more pressure coming from the public to know about what both organizations are doing. So I'd be more than happy to work with you folks.
That's good. Go ahead, Hart.
No, I was just gonna say, I thought Tim's idea there about a video or something like that in terms of, and maybe even getting in contact with some of these lake associations. So when they have their yearly meeting, they could run the 5 or 10 minute video so that people could see, what you are actually contributing here. So.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing there, Tim, and maybe between the freshet and now, that once this budget gets through, maybe you can look at something like that. I know there was some things going on with the building and planning. There was things you were doing that was a great idea, and I just think communication is the key thing. Everything we're dealing with these days is communication problems, and the more communication we do, the easier it is for everyone. So let's work on that this year and see if we can, even with council, like as much as I bring my reports back, it's better to hear from you. So we should schedule you in the summer too to come back and give us an update, maybe mid season. So, but thank you for doing this today. And if there's no other questions, I'll look for a motion to receive this delegation.
Motion to receive the delegation, Mr. Mayor.
Moved by Councillor Ellis and seconder Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Tim. And we'll be seeing you, I guess, next month for our board meeting.
Thank you, folks. And actually, next week, Mayor Martin, we have a meeting. Yeah.
I had February wrote down, so there you go. It's okay. Thank you.
All right. Bye now.
Bye. So that's the scheduled delegation. I don't know if we have any delegations that wanted to be a part of the meeting today. Bianca, is there any other people that called in?
No, I did not receive any.
Okay, thank you. All right then, so we'll move into staff reports for information. We have a few reports there that staff has put in, and the one was that I did have a comment on I'm happy to see Laura's working with the small business and getting that information out. Something that I would like to talk about maybe at a future meeting and not too far out is maybe possibly either working with the Economic Development Committee or setting up a little bit of a subcommittee just to reach out to the small businesses and the not-for-profits out there to see how they're making out and see where they're heading. Because I was talking to Bob last week and just said there's some of these organizations and businesses that, if you help them for the short term, we'll have them for the long term. I just worry that if we lose them, we're going to lose them forever. So it just might be good to set up some sort of a subcommittee, and I'll talk about it more at a future meeting. But Laura's taken the lead here as far as sending this information out, and I think that's really good. And then it was good to see Bianca has done one of her workshops here. So Larry, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, just a quick question for Laura. The Ontario Small Business Grant that was sent out to our small businesses. Curious what kind of response have you had back from any of the small businesses to take advantage of the grant?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I haven't received any feedback from any of the businesses to date, but I do have it scheduled to send out another reminder that these grants are made available. From what I understand, there was a little bit of like a stopgap on the website, the provincial website, where the portal wasn't fully set up and running when I sent the email out the first time, so there may not have been much success initially, but I'll send out another email to the businesses.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay, is there any other questions or comments with regards to the reports for information? Seeing none, I would look for a motion to receive all those reports. Moved by Councillor Webb, that we receive all the reports for information, and seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. Is there any other comments? All in favor? And that's carried. So we have some staff reports here with follow-up action, and the first one is the renewal of insurance here. Gwendolyn?
Good morning, Council. Yes, this report is with the new renewal for the insurance, which includes the property, the vehicles, and the general liability of the township. So we are seeing a more than normal increase because of the financial pressures within the marketplace due to the joint and severable insurance rules. And then also COVID is also wrapped up in that increase because of when our renewal date is. And then also some different claims with cybersecurity and those types of things.
Okay. All right, it's, you know, the comparison sheet there was a good sheet to refer back to. You know, made it easy to understand. So it's kind of hit and miss. Some have went up, some have went down, but overall we're up. Larry, go ahead.
You're on mute. Yep, there you go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple for Gwendolyn. So in the past, when we're getting ready to renew a contract or business with the business, so have we done any comparison for insurance costs with other insurance companies? I know we talked about this in the past.
A number of years ago, we did an RFP for it, and they came in, and that's why you'll see between the last 2 years, there was not a very high increase, because the only increase that we saw there was because of the property values and those types of things generating a small increase. But they had guaranteed the price for a number of years. So we never saw a true increase over the past few years. So this is the first time it's opened up since that RFP.
Okay, so it's been years since we done an RFP. That was my question. Should we be doing a comparison through an RFP?
You could probably do one for next year. It's too late for this year. But I just caution that some of the municipalities in the outlying areas in Peterborough County have seen upwards to 30% increases in their insurance renewals by going out to the marketplace.
I guess you don't know until you advertise, but
Yeah.
and again, now it's too late. But the other question I had, you indicate some of the increased costs is due to COVID. So are we eligible for COVID funding to cover costs for insurance?
I'd have to look into that one. I'm not 100% sure, so I'd have to research that a little bit more.
Well,
You should look at it, yeah.
okay. Well, I would think that would be one of the things that we should be doing, especially when we got that much of an increase. But so that can be looked into then, Gwendolyn?
Yeah, I'll pose the question to the insurance company and let you know what answer I get back.
Okay, thank you, Gwendolyn.
Yeah, so I think that's, yeah, we can look at it. I have heard some, I think the county had a huge increase too this year. Like it is something that you always think is the best thing. Insurance seems to be going this way and everything, but it doesn't hurt to look at it, I guess, it has been a few years, so we should maybe do it for next year or put that on your agenda to try and see what's out there. And I think like you're saying, I think that's what Larry was asking, is what kind of increases are out there. And if you're saying that they've all had some huge increases, we'll have to talk about it more. But is there any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Pomeroy.
Yeah, I just have one, this cyber liability. It's gone up $850, and then I see you have a red note on the bottom of the page. Please note a $250 policy fee is charged in addition to the premium. I'd like an explanation for that. Why would they do that?
I would have to, again, put that in my question to the insurance company because they never gave me a reason for that.
Okay, that's basically one of the things that I can pick apart. There's the rest of it, they have free reign, so we everybody's insurance seemed to go up 15% around. It must be a thing for the insurance companies around because everybody's basically the same. But anyway, I thought that was a wee bit different to, a $250 policy fee on top of what the $850 extra. So I would appreciate it if you check that out, please.
Yeah, I'll get an answer on that.
Okay, any other questions for Wendland? Seeing none, so we'll look for a motion to, I'm just looking for what the recommendation here is, that we approve the 2021 general liability and property vehicle insurance renewal with Marsh. Do I have a motion for that? That's Deputy Mayor Giroux. You're making that motion?
Yes, I am.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Is there a seconder there to move this? And you can add in there, Larry, if you like, or you'd have to ask the person that made the motion that we look at it for next year. As far as when we get a price for next year.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, and there was some questions asked that different council members needed some clarity or information on. So
Okay.
I would second the motion to receive the information from Wendland in a report with a reply back on those questions.
Is that okay with you, Dave?
I would ask Wendland when our insurance is due, and I made a motion to approve this. So in order for me to change my motion, I will have to know when our insurance is due, because if it's time sensitive, we don't have any choice. We need insurance for the municipality's concerns. So Wendland, can you answer that question?
The policy renewed on January 1st. They've given us an extension to the 18th because I just received the final quote last week. So that was why it was later than normal.
So we don't have.
Yeah. So Dave, you're right. Maybe we'll keep these motions separate. Look for a motion to approve this thing, like you said, and then we'll look for another motion separately to explore for next year, because it's up to you. What do you think of that, Dave? You're the one that made the motion.
Well, my motion stands, and I'm certainly would make a motion to ask staff to check into the other reasons, but we need insurance. We need it now. We can't let our citizens go without insurance here. So that's my motion stands.
Okay, and Larry, are you seconding that motion as it was presented?
Yeah, it's through you, Mr. Mayor. I'll second the motion.
Okay. So we'll work with that one first, and then we'll talk about the next part. So all in favor of the motion? And that's carried. So Hart, you had something there for the other part?
Well, I guess this isn't the first time when was this brought up first?
What part?
This is
I'm sorry.
Because I'm just wondering why, like, we're dealing with it now if it was due January 1st. Shouldn't we have been dealing with this like a month ago or?
I've been trying to get a budget number from the insurance company since like August. And they're short-staffed because they've had people leave their company. And so I just received the quote last week. So it's no fault on the part of the township. So we have to deal with when we get it, but I have kept on to the company to get us the numbers.
I understand that, but I mean, I don't like being kind of pressured into decisions here. Councillor Ellis had a very fair question in terms of looking at somewhere where we might be able to get another price. And when it's brought into us with virtually no time to do that background work, it kind of handcuffs us here. And I realize that it is COVID and things aren't getting done maybe as fast, but it's unacceptable that the information be provided with that little time to make a decision. This is a recurring problem.
I think that's what we're saying here, Art. So I think we need to have a motion that we look for next year's price. We need it by June or July, like, so you can start working it into the budget. And we need to give them a timeline in the motion or in the resolution that we want our quote earlier. I've done it with my own business stuff, and when they send it after it's already in progress, leaves it too late. So we need to tell them that we need it by, June or July, so you can work it into next year's, or whether we need to go somewhere else to get some prices. But it's up to council here. If you want to make a resolution that you're right, we can't have it this late, so we need to deal with it earlier, and that needs to be in the resolution, a date that we need it by. Gwendolyn?
Just a comment. So originally it was JLT was the insurance company. So they got taken over by Marsh in the past year. So I personally have seen a reduction of response time by Marsh. So it was going to be my recommendation that we vote and look for next year, just because we need answers when a situation arises. We can't wait.
Okay, so yeah, so let's do it early. Let's not leave it so we're handcuffed here, and let's get it done in the summertime. So does somebody want to make a motion to that effect? Deputy Mayor Giroux, a motion that we go out with an RFP for our insurance. Is that what you want, Gwendolyn? No RFP or RFQ?
Yes.
But, and we have it in a timely fashion, set a date of July, maybe that you'll have time to review it and work it into the budget. So
yeah, but once the budget's done, I would recommend that we go out as soon as possible to get those numbers prior to the next budget process.
Okay. All right. So moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux that we do that. Do you have a seconder? Councillor Ellis, any comments or questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Gwendolyn.
Thank you.
So the next report here we had was with regards to lottery
Mayor
license.
Martin,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
Before we leave the subject, I would like to ask council's support in having Gwendolyn go back to our insurance holder and let them know that we're not happy with the 250 policy fee and find out the reason why. I know we talked about it. We never actually gave that direction.
Sure. Okay, yeah. So moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux that we check into that that Barry was talking about. Seconded by Barry. All in favor? And that's carried. Yeah, thank you, Dave. So, okay, we'll move into the next, Bob, licensing fees.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Yep, through you, Mayor Martin. Further to earlier comments that have been made by yourself at this meeting, we all know that community groups have been struggling due to COVID. Last year was a very difficult year for them. Some of them may be fighting for their very existence. So staff is suggesting that at least for 2021, we initiate no fee lottery licensing for our township. Community groups do use lottery licensing as a tool for fundraising. So this will be one of their recovery strategies. So we think this is a way that we can assist them.
Yeah, and I personally think it's a good idea, Bob, for this year for how much it affects. But Dave, go ahead, and then Barry.
Thank you, Bob, for your report, and I totally agree. The only question, one question I do have is, do we have to forward any portion of money on to the provincial government in regards to the fees that we do charge? Or if we, did I say that right?
Yeah, yes, I understand your question. Through you, Mayor Martin, no, the fees that are paid do stay with the township. We do not forward any fees to the province.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, Barry, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve the recommendation for 2021 because of the
Okay.
COVID.
Moved by Councillor Pomeroy and seconded by Councillor Webb. Any other questions? Larry, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, Bob, how do we get that information to people so they know?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, we will certainly advertise that information on our website, of course. We can certainly put an advertisement in the Havelock Rail. And of course, when they approach us, we will let them know that there is no fee. So we will get it out through any avenue that we can. We would certainly suggest that the community groups talk to each other and spread the word.
Thank you, Bob.
So we have a mover and a seconder, all in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Thank you, Bob. We're going to move into correspondence here. And the first is with the Legion there with regards to an advertisement. I think we did this last year, but I stand to be corrected if, so anyway, they have some prices there, and what's council's thought? Oh, go ahead, Bob.
Sorry, through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, just to confirm, we did place this advertisement last year in a business card format.
Okay. So what, Councillor Pomeroy? You're muted.
I would like to make a motion that we do the same thing this year.
Okay, moved by Councillor Pomeroy that we take an advertisement with the Legion. Do I have a seconder? Deputy Mayor Giroux. Any comments or questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. We have some correspondence that aren't action items, but there was some of interest, and one of them was with regards to the railway, the Canadian Railway, and drainage. So it's just something that we might want to support that resolution. It might be a different railway, but it's some of the challenges that we're having with CP too. So what's council's thoughts? Go ahead, Councillor Webb.
Sorry, I went blank there. Yeah, I just make a motion to.
I think you froze up. I always think it's mine when you do that, but
To support the first one. So
you're making a motion to support that. It really broke up there, Art. Huh. Is everybody froze, or is that?
No. No, I'm not froze.
Art, I think you're still frozen. You might want to shut your video off and try it just with. I think we've lost him. Okay.
If we don't get Councillor Webb back, I would make a motion to support this item. I think it's important and it may help us down the road.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll take the motion from you, Dave. I think Hart's gonna have to come back in through again. I'm not sure, Bianca. Yeah, he's gone. So move by Deputy Mayor Giroux. Are you seconding that, Larry?
The motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. And all in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, can we repeat the motion, please?
Okay, it's it's the Middlesex. Let me see here. I don't have it on this computer here. It's, does somebody did you want to read the motion there, Bob, that they, or the resolution that they put out?
Because we do have an updated version of that.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. The motion is to support the resolution from the municipality of Southwest Middlesex with regard to drainage issues and railway track infrastructure intersections.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep, I just wanted that confirmed because it's updated from what's on our agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in favor.
All right, thank you. So that's carried, Bob. Is there anything else there that council wishes to discuss? If not, I'll take a motion to receive the balance of the correspondence.
Motion to receive the balance of correspondence, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moved by Councillor Ellis, seconder. Deputy Mayor Giroux, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, I've seen Barry's hand up. Was that okay, Barry? Did you have something else? Okay. All right then, I got a bit of a delay here, I think, so bear with me. Next, we're going to move into committee liaison reports. And it's just basically the conference calls, and there was a bit of a break over the holidays there. They started up again this week, and I have a couple. I have one tomorrow afternoon and one tomorrow night with regards to separate from council. So anyways, I don't really have anything to report here. I don't know if, I think the Christmas break, everybody hopefully had a good break, and we'll get back into it here. Is there any activity that anybody needed to add into here? Okay. Next, we'll move into new business, or written or oral notice of motion I have here. Sorry. Go ahead, Barry. You're muted there.
I got some new business.
Okay, so there's no oral, or I haven't seen any written notice of motion. Is there any oral notice of motion? Seeing none, we'll move into new business, and go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, in lieu of what COVID has cost us here, I would like to see us maybe through the pandemic, our water and sewer rates, that there be no increase to business and new and non-businesses. You know, it's our area has been affected by, you know, unemployment, you know, physical distress, mental, social well-being. We've got it all here, and there's some families that are having really a big hard time to meet things the way they are. And I think that the COVID would probably cover our water and sewer rates again this year. And rather than tie people up and worry, because we have some old people too, older people that are on fixed incomes, and with what's coming down the tube, you know, groceries they said for an average family is going to be $800, even for a single person for $400 more. It's another thing. So I can't see why we couldn't just leave our water and sewer rates as they are. We have another probably 35, 40 new customers with our new subdivision and our Peterborough housing development, and we've had another couple houses built. So it should level out with basically what we've been receiving anyway. So, but I would just like to see that we treat our businesses and our people in a fair way at this time.
Okay, So you would be making that for the next agenda. There would be a motion come forward on the next agenda.
Yes,
Your
please.
motion. Okay, Wendland, how does that work? I thought we dealt with it, but you know, we can bring this back next week to the next meeting.
We could possibly deal with it on the 14th on our next budget meeting. It would tie in there. So I'd have to get some further information from Bob from the previous meetings of if there was resolutions and that type of thing. But I'd have to do some calculations of what the effect would be. So I'd have that information for the 14th if you wanted to put it on there.
Okay, I think the motion would have to go on the next meeting, but we can discuss it on the 14th and see what we can do there to help the situation, or if there's anything we can do at all, and what the effects would be. So you can prepare for that, but I think the motion would have to go and be advertised on our next meeting. If am I not mistaken, Bob, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here. Through you, Mayor Martin. Absolutely, we could put a motion on the next agenda, either through new business or through a notice of motion. Either way works, but it would be available for all to see.
So that'll be open for discussion on the next meeting then. Okay, Barry, so you would like to put that motion forward? Do I have a second? Or you don't need a seconder for that, so that's good. We can bring that forward for the next meeting for discussion.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Larry, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just a little clarity. So we're talking about the town ward in regards to water and sewer for giving that COVID incentive break or whatever we want to call it. But we're just talking about town ward, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay then. So that'll be on our next, and we'll have discussion at the next meeting with regards to it. And on the 14th, Wendell might have some updates with regards to the pros and cons of doing that. So, okay. So the other thing, so I had a listing thing there for strategic plan again, and with everything that's been going on, whether strategic plan or a priority list, but I think early before the end of February, I would really like to update our priority list and at this stage of the game, I think we should have done a strategic plan at the beginning, but we didn't. So I don't think it's really worth doing a strategic plan now to finish the term out. But I really think we need to update our priority list to finish the term. So it's just I was looking for support from council that we try and do something like that before the end of February, like earlier than later, so we can keep things moving. It's kind of a guideline, and the other one is getting, I think a lot of things have been taken care of, and hopefully in the next week we'll hear more on the top things on the list, and we can move them off maybe eventually. So I don't know what council's thoughts are on that. Go ahead, Larry.
Well, I was just waiting for you to finish your conversation there. I just had another item under new business.
Okay, so that's something to think about. Dave, go ahead, and then Councillor Webb.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. Yes, our priority plans is a living document, so I certainly support your suggestion.
Okay, so Hart, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you and the deputy mayor. My only 2 cents to that would be possibly, as you said, the end of February. If we could even get going on that near the start of February, I think the sooner the better. So it'll help us getting things done this summer.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. So Bob, what's the process there as far as getting that going? Do you need a resolution that we update our priority list?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, it would be helpful to have a resolution, and that would help give direction to staff.
All right. Does somebody want to make that move that? That's moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux and seconded by Councillor Webb, that we work on our priority list in February. So let's try and get the budget moving, and then we can get this going at the same time. All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Thank you, guys. Next, Wendolyn, you have the budget meeting schedule there for the next two. The first one, if you notice, is like she scheduled an hour. We talked about, it's been a while since we've spent some time on it. So she sent the highlights today, or the that we can go over, and hopefully on Thursday we can get back on track and see where we're at. We've had a few meetings with regards to budget. They were a while ago. We've sent staff away to try and look for some efficiencies. By the looks of the number that we're at with the summary, it's heading in the right direction. And hopefully Wendolyn can give us an update on Thursday, and then we can dig in and see what we can do here to get this done. So do you have anything to add there, Wendolyn?
No, just that there's a few outstanding items. So I tried to highlight all of those things in the highlight sheet so we can discuss those, and it's looking pretty good. And just so for your information, the insurance rates that we discussed today have already been built in, and all the other wage things such as CPP, EI, etc., have been built in. So it is looking fairly decent so far. So I'm hoping that we can get it passed by February at the latest, so that we can move on to other projects.
Okay, so Wendolyn's going to give us a detailed summary on Thursday, and that'll kickstart us back into it, and we can start dealing with where we need to go. So Larry, you had something for new business, and then I think Hart had something, but no. Okay, go ahead, Larry.
Okay, through you, Mr. Mayor, I was speaking with CAO Bob during the week regarding the latest information regarding Fish Hatchery Road. And I see Peter Lawson is still with us. Peter was apparently doing some preliminary work as well. It's going to be a topic through budget. And so we need to know the latest and the greatest and what we're going to deal with if we take that step to do the road. So again, I was speaking with Bob, and if Peter's on board there, maybe we can get an update on that.
Mayor Martin, yes. Yes, Councillor Ellis did reach out, and I'll certainly defer to Peter in a moment, our Manager of Public Works. However, just to bring Council up to date with the latest information, we have reached out, staff has reached out to Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry to continue the dialogue regarding Fish Hatchery Road, the transfer of the roadway. The Ministry of Natural Resources has indicated that they are certainly open to the possibility of transferring that road to us. We need to discuss surveys and the details of that and any costs that may be involved. We don't have those answers yet. That is an ongoing dialogue, but we are certainly continuing that, and we will have answers as soon as we have them. Council will have them as well. And I'll defer to our Manager of Public Works to add to that.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, Councillor Ellis, I've spent some time going over the estimate that Engage has submitted to us, and we have worked the numbers down a little bit. I've had Daryl Drain himself out through the whole road with myself, and we have decreased the estimate on things that we feel that is not necessary, but we still would like to have the survey in place definitely before we can take some more items off the list if we possibly can. We just want to make sure we know where the property lines are, and before we get into any more decreases in the price. But yes, we are working with it, and it was very nice of Mr. Drain to come and have a look with myself, and yes, we're going forward, and as Bob said, the ministry we're going back and forth with the MNRF as well. So
again, through you, Mr. Mayor, Peter, any idea on the surveying when that's going to be completed, or the information back to us?
Through you, Mayor Martin, to Councillor Ellis, I believe that the emails from staff from our CAO, Bob, has asked that as one of the questions to the MNRF, if they are going to be handling that or we are going to be paying the cost to the surveyors. So recommending that we use the Ontario Land Surveyors, and we have an estimate of an approximate. So we're just trying to get the details figured out with the MNR for that with the land transfer. So,
And there's no present surveying documents that would qualify what we're looking for to resurvey. Am I making sense?
Through you, Mayor Martin. Yeah, Councillor. Yes, I know what you're asking. I think that there would be a survey map of it, but for the land transfer, we would still, I believe required to have the proper survey done by the Ontario Land Surveying Company. So it's up to date, and then exactly we know where the limits are when we're working on the road. So.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Dave, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. That was one of my questions. I would have thought the Ministry of Natural Resources would have had a survey done. Peter has explained that perhaps that won't be up to date. The other question I had, Peter, is our own public works could do a great deal of this work. Is that correct or false?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, to Deputy Mayor Droe. Yes, definitely. We could take it on exactly the same as we do our reconstruction of our own surface treatment, our own side roads to bring up to prep to be able to surface treat. So yes, we could through the hiring of external contractors for certain pieces of equipment. But yes, we can definitely do a lot of the work ourselves.
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves when we're doing surface treatment,
Yeah,
but yes, thank you, Peter.
No, that was just an example as we do, just an example on our own roads that we do rebuild for new surface treatment. Yes, the ones that have failed, but yes, no, this, yes, just gravel.
All right, Peter, thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Webb, go ahead.
Yeah, just for the rest of council, I don't know if they've noticed on George Street, they started to finally install the crosswalk for the school. I saw them putting up the posts yesterday, and I believe they got the wiring in the ground. So while I have Pete here, Pete's been after them for the last couple of months. And so I'd like to thank you for all your hard work on that, Pete, getting it done. It's been a long couple of years. Bob, I know you've had your hand in that too. So, and the rest of the staff, thank you very much. And I'll be very happy not to be answering questions about why it's not done yet.
I thought they were putting stoplights up there.
Don't start.
Oh, okay. All right. Is there any other new business here? Anybody wish to discuss? Seeing none. Thank you, everyone, for that. We don't have any bylaws. We went through this pretty good, so I'm going to look for a confirming bylaw here for today's meeting. Moved by Councillor Webb, seconder. Councillor Ellis, all in favor? And that's carried. So we will have a closed session meeting in a little bit. What time is that at, Bob? Go ahead, Barry. Sorry, go ahead. You're muted. Oh, so you love technology, Barry? I'm going to read your list here.
Jeez. I love it. I love it. No, I would just had my hand up for the next motion.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Bob, is there, what time is the closed session meeting at?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. We can certainly be flexible. We've indicated we have a couple of delegations to our closed sessions. So we had initially indicated 1 o'clock to them. If you wish to revise that, we can certainly do that.
It's up to council here. The 1 o'clock works for me, but if you want to get it over with, that's up to you guys. What's your thoughts here? We'll leave it for 1 o'clock. I'm not seeing anything here, so
1 o'clock.
Okay, all right, we'll leave it for 1 o'clock then, Bob. Okay, so motion to adjourn. I think I seen Barry's hand up there, and Dave seconded it, so seconded it. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, and we'll see you at 1 o'clock. I know some aren't going to